George, the curious little monkey. He must know what everything's about. Curious George, the curious little monkey. What's he up to? Let's find out.
Curious George washes the little blue car. George, said the man with the yellow hat, the car is dirty. Why don't you wash it? I have other work to do. George went to the kitchen to get a pail, a sponge, and some soap. Then George went outside. It was a hot summer day. No one was around. He took everything to the car and began to work. First, he needed some water. He went over to the hydrant. Could he open it? George was curious. With his 2 feet, he held on to the bottom. With his 2 hands, he tried to turn the knob, but it still did not move. George went back to the kitchen and got a wrench. With all his might, he finally turned the knob. Out poured the water. He squeezed some soap into the pail. A little, then a little more, and then some more. Soap bubbles appeared, and more bubbles, and more. Soon, mountains of bubbles came out of the pail, onto the sidewalk, and all around the little blue car. Bubbles, bubbles everywhere. Jimmy's mother rushed over. "Turn off that water, George. Look what you've done," she cried. She was angry. George was scared. It was time to get away. He ran down the street, climbed up a tree, and hid in the branches. Water kept pouring all over, even over Jimmy's mother. "My shoes are all wet," she cried. "I'll phone for the plumber. He'll turn that hydrant off." George peeked out from the tree to see if the coast was clear. His friend Jimmy was just coming home from playing ball. He was with Ralph and Rosie. "That was a rough game," said Jimmy. "I'm tired," said Ralph. "Hey, what's going on over there?" asked Rosie. "Somebody's turned on the hydrant." "Great," said Jimmy. "Let's cool off." Everybody got soaking wet. That is, everybody but George. Poor George. He was hot and wanted to cool off, too. Soon, George forgot all about hiding and joined his friends. "George," said Jimmy, "jump in before the water is turned off." There was just time for him to cool off. Just then, the plumber's truck came up the street. "I'm glad you're here," said Jimmy's mother. "Please turn off the hydrant." Then she saw George with the other children. "So there you are. You ought to be spanked." "Wait a minute, Mom," said Jimmy. "If it wasn't for George, we couldn't have cooled off." "It's such a hot day," said Rosie, "and we're having lots of fun." "Don't worry, ma'am," said the plumber. "Everything will dry off in a few minutes." "I was angry with you, George," said Jimmy's mother. But the children did have a good time, and she smiled. "I have an idea," she added, and gave George a sponge. "Now that your car is clean, how about washing ours?" And that's just what George did. He was so busy that he didn't even notice his friend looking on. "George," said the man, "you've done 2 good jobs, our car and hers.